Welcome to Sports Jam for the week of October 7th. I'm John Jacobson.
I'm Jay Wilcox. This week on the show, we'll look ahead to the soccer playoffs with the Breck boys. Plus, in our Sports Jam Spotlight, we meet a guy who really knows the meaning of the phrase old-time hockey.
Leading things off, some big matchups in prep football. Defending champion Maple Grove is expected to be a top contender in the North Division of the larger schools in the Northwest Suburban Conference. But not a lot of people were calling Centennial a strong contender until the Cougars got off to a great start. Crimson visiting Centennial, leading 6-0. Maple Grove capitalizes on a high punt snap by Centennial. Peter Olson scoops it up and goes in for the score. That makes it 13-0 Crimson in the second quarter. They get an offensive score with power football. Tahi Nomain plunges in behind his line to score. Maple Grove's in front 19-0 at this point. Centennial regroups, though, as Max Corey hits Spencer Hockinen cutting across the middle. He is gone. This play covers 54 yards in all as the Cougars get on the board. They add another TD to pull it a 19-13 at halftime. In the third quarter, Tyler Coyne fights his way into the end zone from a yard out. The Crimson lead at 26-13 after Coyne's TD. They go to the air to score once more. Play action for Carl Altenberg, and he hits tight end Jake Sterling for the touchdown. It's 32-13 Crimson. Maple Grove's defense isn't about to surrender the lead. The Centennial pass is tipped, and Adam Brandt is right there for the interception to halt the Centennial drive. And they get after the quarterback, too. Watch number 20, Emmanuel Erich. You can't get him the first time, but he's relentless and gets the sack here. Maple Grove rolls to a 32-13 win to move to 6-0.
It's a big win for us. A lot of people doubted us, and this was kind of a game to prove ourselves. So to come in here, shut them down pretty much offensively, and it was just a great game for us to come and dominate.
Well, they've had a strong rivalry over the years. The Osseo Park Center matchup has been pretty lopsided in recent seasons. Osseo hoped to keep the upper hand over their District 279 rivals, while Park Center had other plans. Osseo jumps out to a quick lead, but the Pirates fight back. Parker Miller to Joe Davis, a 46-yard passing play for a Pirates touchdown. Next possession, Miller's floater is snagged in the end zone by Adam Burge. PC takes a 14-13 lead after one quarter. Osseo responds, though, in the second. Prince Krua powers in on a 10-yard touchdown run, one of 3 for him. Late in the first half, Matt Medke to Joshua Riley Phillips for the touchdown. The Orioles score 29 unanswered points and lead 42-14 at the half. Third quarter, Miller is under pressure, but he gets it away to Davis for a 34-yard touchdown. That one cuts the Osseo lead to 42-21. But the Orioles put together another methodical drive early in the fourth quarter. Joshua Goldschmidt catches a 7-yard touchdown pass. Osseo goes on to win it 49-29. Also in the Northwest Suburban's West Division, Totino Grace at Andover. After leading 7-6 at the half, Totino Grace gets it going in the third. Kai Barber carries it up the middle for a 15-yard TD, and it's 13-6 Eagles. About 4 minutes later, Lance Bennick takes the toss on the sweep and fights to get in for the score here. Grace has some breathing room with a 20-6 lead. In the fourth, Seth Sulwald throws to Bennick for a 12-yard touchdown. That makes it 27-6, and Grace goes on to win 39-6. Looks like their game with Osseo on the last night of the season will decide the conference title.
In the Lake Conference, Wayzata's football team is gaining steam. The Trojans have Eden Prairie this week. They wanted to get a little revenge Friday after losing to Edina last year. Up 3-0, Wayzata's Tanner Bedard takes the handoff and dashes through a big hole created by his line. Gets to the outside and keeps going all the way down to the 12-yard line. That 48-yard run sets up a Bedard touchdown for a 10-0 lead. Edina gets creative on the answer here. Double reverse pass. Ben Boone throwing a strike to quarterback turned receiver Corey Peterson for the touchdown, and the Hornets are on the board. But it's mostly Wayzata's night. A well-blocked play here for Bedard to get in for the score. It's 17-7 Trojans at the half. With the rain coming down in the second half, Joey Colpeen gets the handoff on the counter. He cuts left and has smooth sailing from there. It's 23-7 Wayzata. The Trojans' defense has a good night. The Peterson pass is slightly underthrown, and Nelson Moen picks it off. He gets a convoy of blockers up the sideline and goes for a 42-yard return to make it 31-7 Wayzata. And the Trojans dominate this one. Andrew Redding hits Michael Smith open downfield. A 58-yard strike as Wayzata rolls to a 38-7 win, setting up their game this Friday with top-ranked Eden Prairie.
Brooklyn Center came into Friday with something that's been hard to come by in recent seasons, a winning streak. The Centaurs had 2 straight wins coming into their tri-metro clash with Concordia Academy. Time for a photo op on homecoming night at BC. Concordia fullback Isaac Hernandez sidesteps a tackler early and breezes in for a 20-yard touchdown. The Beacons grab an early 7-0 lead. Brooklyn Center's offense struggles. Chester Whaley is spun down for a sack by Roger Moore. Disappointing he's not wearing 007 on his uniform. Concordia strikes again on the special teams. Chris Carlson fields the line drive punt, runs by the first wave of tacklers, gets a block or two, and then watch the spin move here at the 20. He eludes one more tackler and scores on a 55-yard return, and it's 14-0 Beacons. The Centaurs play some tough D2. Hernandez popped by Tyree Jolloff and finished by Rufus Menden here. After recovering a Centaurs fumble on a punt return, Concordia scores on a touchdown run by Moore as they go on to beat Brooklyn Center 27-0. And John Cooper had to play one half Friday, one half Saturday in their loss to Fridley.
Not the greatest weather that night, and lightning split that one into 2 days. Coming up on Sports Jam, a look ahead to the soccer playoffs, and later we'll meet a man who is set to become a part of a new Hall of Fame in Robbinsdale. Welcome back to the show.
Heritage Christian Academy is having a real good season in boys soccer. They look for a win in the MCAA tournament against Pack Charter. You got to check out this first goal here. Tanner Tripp gets control, chips it to Tyler Furry for the amazing bicycle kick. That one's the goal of the year, and it's 1-0 Eagles. Furry plays the through ball ahead to Nick Wilson, who gets to it and then leaves the ball in front for Michael Westling for the redirect. It's a 2-0 lead for Heritage. Pack looking to get on the board as Dan Nelson will line it up for a shot off the throw-in. But Jack Vandertop is right there to make a great diving save for Heritage. Late in the first half, Wilson beats the goalkeeper and the clock to score with 4 seconds to play on the way to a 5-0 Heritage win. The Eagles beat Southwest Christian for the MCAA championship.
Maple Grove's boys look to close out the regular season in style against a good opponent. Elk River's Joey Benz takes the corner kick, and it goes in off a Maple Grove defender's header try. Benz gets credit for the goal. 10th-ranked Elks take a 1-0 lead on the Crimson. Second half now, Maple Grove's Reed Diamond stopped in close quarters by the keeper. The ball comes loose, and Ted Janka knocks it in for the Crimson, tying the game at 1. And Maple Grove goes ahead here. The crossing pass is off a defender, and Kevin Hoof gets there just before he collides with the Elks goalkeeper. It's 2-1 Maple Grove. They had one more to be sure. Diamond comes out of a scramble with the ball and puts it away. Maple Grove wins 3-1. They tie for second place in the Northwest Suburban.
That brings us now to playoff time in soccer. There will be some interesting matchups for local teams. In Section 5AA boys, Maple Grove is the top seed, followed by Irondale. Osseo is third, then it's Mounds View, Park Center, Prairie Seeds, Champlin Park, and Spring Lake Park. The quarterfinals are Tuesday. Maple Grove hosts Spring Lake Park. Park Center is at Mounds View. Very interesting one as Prairie Seeds is at Osseo. Champlin Park is at Irondale, and the winners play again right away Thursday in the semifinals. In Section 6AA boys, Southwest and St. Louis Park are the top 2 seeds. Wayzata is the top local squad at number 3. Hopkins, Cooper, and Armstrong are in the 6, 7, 8 slots. Armstrong is at Southwest in the quarterfinals Thursday. Wayzata hosts Hopkins, and Cooper visits North Suburban rival St. Louis Park. The semis in this section are Saturday.
Now to girls soccer. Mounds View is the number 1 seed in Section 5AA ahead of Centennial. Maple Grove is the 3rd seed. Champlin Park is 6th, and Osseo 7th. In the quarterfinals Tuesday, Mounds View and Irondale host games in the upper half of the bracket. Champlin Park is at Maple Grove at 5 o'clock, and Osseo is at Centennial at 7. The semifinals are Thursday. In Section 6AA, Wayzata is the number 2 seed behind Lake Conference rival Minnetonka. Hopkins is 3rd, Armstrong is 6th, and Cooper 8th. Cooper is at Minnetonka in the quarterfinals Thursday. Armstrong visits Hopkins, and Wayzata hosts South. The semifinals are Saturday. And also, Jay, the Park Center Tutino Grace girls are the top 2 seeds in Section 5A, and Benilde's girls are number 1 in 6A.
And the Heritage Christian boys seeded 3rd in Section 5A, so a lot of good possibilities in the playoffs. We'll also talk with the Breck boys, the number 1 team in their section in Class A, coming up later in the show. Now to volleyball, where Hopkins is having a very solid season. The Royals faced another top 10 opponent when they hosted Eden Prairie. Off a Jasmine Martin serve, Talia Johnson will put away the Eden Prairie overpass here, sweeping it past the blockers. Hopkins scores a 25-18 win in the first set. The second is a nail-biter. Audrey Erickson's hit off the blocker for a 22-20 lead. The Royals go on to win it 27-25 to go up 2-0. The third is the one that gets away for Hopkins. Twice they have match point chances, but Ashley Brueggemann's kill gives the Eagles a comeback win 28-26, and they stay alive. Eden Prairie rolls in the fourth set. They get the block that'll drop in the middle of the court. The Eagles win 25-14, and we're even at 2-2. Hopkins leads for much of the way in the fifth, but Abby Erkey tips it over the blockers as the Eagles pull out a wild fifth set, 19-17, to score a comeback in 5.
In the MCAA Conference, Heritage hosted Maranatha. After winning the first set, Heritage cruising in the second. Michaela Lean puts the ball over the net. The Mustangs can't handle it, and Heritage wins, and they take a 2-0 lead. In the third set, the Eagles start off slow, but here Maddie Torvik sets up Lean, who powers a shot off the Mustangs defender for a point. And Heritage takes over from there. Annika Van Oosbreed diving to dig that ball up. Lean comes up with the block. Give the Eagles a 20-11 lead. And then on match point, Emily Torvey with the quick set for Janae Fugelstead. Powers the hit down, giving the Eagles a 3-set win over the Mustangs. The adapted soccer season is just getting started with some good early games. Park Center in green in a CI division game. Kevin Hofer sending it to the corner. Aaron Clark pass to Hofer. He buries it. Park Center builds a 5-2 lead on Mounds View, Irondale, Roseville. Hofer gets control of the ball here and makes no mistake and scores. It's 7-3. Clark does a good job battling for the ball, banks it to Hofer for the shot and goal, and the Pirates are in control in this one. Paige Farber fights for the ball. She comes up with it and buries the shot. Park Center rolls to an 11-3 win. In girls swimming and diving, many teams are preparing for True Team section meets this weekend. Osseo hosting Coon Rapids in a Northwest Suburban Conference duel. 200 medley relay, the Osseo team of Natalie Campa, Emily Poole, Cassandra Kornakos, and anchor Julia Landwin win. 200 freestyle race, and it's Caitlin Strauss swimming to a personal best, 1 minute 59.85 seconds to take first place. And she is excited about that. 200 individual medley. Corey Blackberg of Osseo touches home first, winning in 2 minutes 17.85 seconds. Another victory for Osseo in the 50 freestyle. Again, it's Emily Uhl picking up a win. She swims to a time of 25.08 seconds for first. Now to the diving. Osseo's Megan White picks up more points for the Orioles as they pull away from the Cardinals. Back to the swimming, 100 butterfly. Strauss and Campa finish 1-2 in the race for Osseo. The Orioles win big over Coon Rapids in this one. 105-81 is the final. And also Jay Wilcox clinched the Lake Conference title in swimming and diving with a 108-78 win over Eden Prairie, the Trojans' first conference championship since 2007.
Not an easy conference to win. It's a power conference in every sport, and especially girls swimming. Next up on Sports Jam, we take a look back on the career of one of the best hockey players ever to lace up the skates here in the Northwest suburbs.
Late next week, 12 athletes and coaches from a high school that closed nearly 32 years ago will be honored. They are members of the charter class of the Robbinsdale High School Athletic Hall of Fame. In this week's Sports Jam Spotlight, we meet a man who shows us why his class voted him most athletic.
Go!
Len Lilyhom still gets around pretty well,
Take a right.
especially on skates. The 72-year-old plays hockey 2 to 3 times a week, still showing a flash of the speed and skills that shaped a remarkable career.
It's probably the only sport where guys can play to be my age competitively. It's everything else you kind of, baseball, softball, you kind of end in your 40 or 50 and you quit. But the hockey continues, and it's growing at my age. We got tournaments now around the country, 65 and older, 70 and over.
Len's hockey life spans some 60 years now, from growing up near Twin Lake and Crystal, and then in the late 1950s playing 3 years at Robbinsdale High School. He was the only all-state player in the school's history.
Well, I was obviously not the biggest guy on the team, but I was probably the fastest one, and so I was very quick, and I could pretty good stick handler and stuff, so I was able to control the play and things like that as time went on, and I was always more of an assist player than a goal scorer.
In February of 1959, Robbinsdale won their section and qualified for the school's lone state tournament appearance in hockey. Len Lilyhom was the team's leading scorer, and even back then, the state hockey tournament in Minnesota was a big deal.
I remember I was at the state tournament my junior year watching it, and I was in awe. And to get there the next year was, quite a treat. And we weren't, I'll tell you what, our team, skill-wise, we weren't the most skilled team in the world, but the effort, I think, got us there.
Though hockey was his best sport, Len was, like most of his teammates, a 3-sport athlete. In track and field, he held the school record in the pole vault and was an all-conference halfback and linebacker for the Robins' 1958 state championship football team. He teamed with standouts like future Gophers defensive tackle and linebacker Julian Hook and Denny Claridge, who later quarterbacked the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Claridge was an outstanding quarterback. If he wanted to run, he'd always run for 10 yards. And we didn't have the biggest linemen, but they were quick and strong. And we dominated. I don't think anybody scored more than 6 points on us all year. It was just one of those years.
From Robbinsdale, Len went to the University of Minnesota to play hockey and was part of the buzzsaw line with Gary Schmaltzbauer and Dave Brooks, the younger brother of Herb Brooks. Len graduated from the U, but his hockey career never slowed.
I was the last guy cut in the 64 team. It's kind of like Herbie Brooks was cut in the 60. And so that really, I just realized that I had to be on the Olympic team, so it kept me going. So then I played in the 66 and 67 national teams, and then the 68.
And Len still has the 68 Olympic jersey to prove it.
Might even had a little blood on it at one time.
After 4 years as a player-coach professional in Austria, Len and his wife Carol and family returned home to Minnesota, where he played 1 season in the old World Hockey Association for the Minnesota Fighting Saints.
Glenn Sonmore was the coach, and we had a summer Olympic Development League in Edina, Braemar, and I was coaching one of the teams, and he came out and scouted a few of the guys, and gave me a phone call and said, he says, I'm going to be coach with the Fighting Saints. Would you be interested in playing? And I said, sure. So I was a 31-year-old rookie with the Fighting Saints.
In a little more than a week, Len will be back at his old high school to be part of a special night honoring a dozen of the finest coaches and athletes to wear the blue and gold of Robbinsdale.
I'm incredibly honored for being in this first group because there's been tons of good athletes there. And then to have two other, Julian Hook and Dennis Claridge, and same year classmates is, it's phenomenal.
The public is welcome to attend the ceremony that will honor Len and 11 other former Robbinsdale athletes and coaches. It is Friday, October 18th at 7 o'clock at the Robbinsdale Middle School Auditorium and is part of Robbinsdale's all-school reunion that weekend. Sports Jam returns in a moment as Jay talks playoff soccer with the Breck boys.
Welcome back to Sports Jam. It's playoff time for soccer teams around the northwest suburbs, and one of the teams really looking to excel at postseason time is the Breck boys, and joined by a couple of their midfielders and also their head coach, George Stumpfig, today. And we'll start with Andrew Stumpfig. And how much fun has this season been for you guys so far this regular season?
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of good wins. We've played really well, and looking forward to the off season.
You guys have, obviously some of the teams on your schedule have had trouble keeping up with you, but then some of the others have been pretty good. Do you like getting those tests, and is that going to make you ready for playoff time a little more?
Yeah, the hard games, they really keep us in check, even our losses. They make us work harder and get ready for the playoffs.
I know when I was over here earlier, I was talking with the guys about, how this team has sort of grown together. A lot of the guys started playing when they were pretty young on varsity and maybe took their lumps just a little bit, and now have built up to this point. Has that been fun to watch the progress like that?
It has, yeah. As freshmen, it was a tough year, but building up, we've gotten a lot better and worked hard together, I guess.
You guys have certainly had a good year, but so have some of the others you might play in the sections. Who do you think will be up there? Who will be the biggest challenges to try and get through?
Benilde and Waconia are both going to be some really good teams. We played Waconia last year, so it'll be looking forward to playing them again, hopefully.
All right, great job so far this season, and have fun in the playoffs.
Thanks.
And Michael Orkey, your team has done a lot of good things this year. You've also, went undefeated pretty late in the season, but had a loss or two. Is that not such a bad thing, though, necessarily, to get those losses a little bit, just to get them out of the way, I guess?
Yeah, I think the loss actually helps us. Helps us learn from our mistakes, and just kind of so we're not like over our heads going in, thinking we're too good, I guess.
What do you think your team is really good at? If you had to describe, style of play on the field for the Mustangs, what do you guys really excel at?
I think we all play really well together. We play a team game, work with each other, play off each other, pass it,
You guys got so close to reaching the state tournament last year. Does that sort of fuel you this year heading into the playoffs?
For sure, absolutely. Everyone, I think, still feels a little regret losing that game. We're a little sad, so we really want to redeem ourselves for this year.
All right, good luck in the playoffs, and it's been a great run so far.
Thank you.
And Coach George Stumpfig, you were telling me earlier that this group, you could see them growing when you had to put some of them in as freshmen, and how much fun has it been for you to see their progress?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, these guys, as they alluded to, a lot of them have been together for a couple years here, and they weren't as physically mature a couple years ago as they are now. We knew we had talent a couple years ago, and so we figured that around this time we might have something special, and I think it's turning out that way.
You don't go into any game hoping you lose, obviously, but in your mind, is a loss or two along the way in the regular season something that you don't mind too much?
Yeah, it's you never want to lose when you step on the field, of course, but it's not the end of the world, and it's everything's a learning experience here for the guys, and they have to learn how to deal with adversity, and certainly that's happened a couple times this year, and we've had a couple injuries to key players that we've had to deal with as well. So it's all about learning how to deal with the situation. I think they bounced back really well.
All right, George, congratulations on a great regular season and have fun in the playoffs.
Thanks very much.
All right, the Breck Mustangs looking to try and get to the state tournament through the Section 6A tournament. We'll leave you now with a look at the seedings for that tournament as play gets started this week.
Follow 12 Sports replays and live events on Twitter, Facebook, and Livestream. Watch your favorite high school athletes performing live on your computer or mobile device. Link to us on 12.tv. That will do it for this week's show. Playoff soccer starts this week. Look for that later this week on Channel 12.
Thanks for watching Sports Jam. We'll see you next time.